Welcome to episode 57. This week on the show, a special holiday episode. We also welcome back to the show Holly and Peter and talk about new additions to the Magic Kingdom like beverages throughout the park, a new tour, and changes to a beloved attraction. We also talk about a cancellation of a previous announcement at D23 for Epcot, as well as Spaceship Earth Refurbishment news and new additions to the World Showcase such as a new pavilion being added and news about the replacement for Illuminations. We also discuss changes to the runDisney events at Walt Disney World, and do we finally have a new name for Disney's Hollywood Studios? Stay tuned.
Oh boy, an all-new episode of One Little Spark Podcast.
Oh, hello there.
Do you want to connect with our show? Find us online at onelittlesparkpodcast.com.
Hello.
And on social media by searching for One Little Spark Podcast. Broadcasting from the Dreamport. One Little Spark Podcast. Welcome to the show, everyone. Happy Easter. Rich here, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Joey McGurr. How's it going, Joey?
It's going great, Rich. Glad to be here.
We're also joined this week, once again, by our good friends, Holly and Peter, for this special holiday version of One Little Spark Podcast. How's it going?
Great. How are you guys doing?
Doing fantastic over here.
Thank you for having us again, and this is by far one of my favorite holidays, so thank you for having us on.
Me too. It is right up there with Halloween and Christmas for me. So before we get started with the show, we have so much to get to because there's a lot that happened recently in the Disney news. So guess what happened recently, Joey?
There was a survey done? I don't know. You got me. I wasn't prepared for that. I'm sorry. What happened recently, Rich?
Incorrect. We got 3 more iTunes reviews.
That's amazing. I love that.
And I wanted to say thank you to our recent iTunes shoutouts and 5-star reviews. And here are who they're from. The first one, and I don't even know what this even means because usually people have screen names like Disney Michelle or something, or their actual name. This one is just JKOLMJM.
All right.
But they said, Rich and Joey equals entertaining Disney podcasting.
Aw.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The next one is from Kelly Reese, who I actually met at a Moonlight Magic DVC event about a month and a half ago, I think. And she said, Rich and friends are a hoot. Great job, guys. Keep up the good work.
Way to go, friends.
So she's really nice, actually. Yeah, pal. No, she's really cool. Her husband's really cool as well. He was there. He's super tall. He's like 1.5 feet taller than me.
Wow.
And I'm like, all right, you're as tall as the castle. And the last one was from Disney Nerd 1122. And they wrote, just recently found this podcast and have been working my way through listening to every episode. The quality is great and the content is awesome. By doing a weekly topic in addition to different segments during the show, each episode is unique and has its own flair. Everything about this show is well done and fun to listen to. Give it a listen. You won't be disappointed. Awesome review. Thanks a lot for those. It really does mean a lot. And you know, we joked around about how we weren't getting reviews for like 6 months, and then we got a bunch all at once. But again, with the dates on these ones, they were spread out over the last 2 weeks, and iTunes, for some reason, has this weird delay where once you submit one, it takes days sometimes. So some of those were even before the last episode. So, again, thank you for those reviews.
Yeah, and if you got something to say, don't delay. Get out there and write us a review today. I just came up with that on top of my head. You know, it happens.
So be like those guys and add your 5-star written review today. All right, so we have so much to get to, and we'll get to that fun right after this.
Hello everyone, this is Kelly from Epic Disney Escape, and I'm here with my other half of Epic Disney Escape, Christina!
Woo!
Yeah! We're going to be talking about our third escape that we took together and what our most epic moment was for each of us during that trip. We don't know each other's answers, so we'll see what we pick. I don't know. This was a pretty big one for us. It was the one we did WDW 47 on, which is the challenge.
To ride all 47 rides between the 4 parks in one day. So I'm assuming they're probably both from that. But we decided we had to be specific, very specific within that time frame if that's what we chose.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Christina, it's your turn to go first.
Okay, so for me, it was from the WDW 47 day, and we had a bunch of people following us on Twitter. There's multiple teams that are actually trying this attempt that day. Parknado! And for me, the most epic moment was when we actually got a badge, like a trophy, that said we were the very first team out of all these teams that are veterans of the Disney parks. We were the very first team to complete 2 parks, and we were just really efficient that day. And just when everyone started being like, oh my gosh, these rookies, what is going on? And where are they coming from? And that moment, and also just the fact that we were really, really efficient. We stuck to our plan the entire day, all the way from 6 in the morning until 11 p.m. The plan that I had put out on a spreadsheet, and it was just, we left the parks at like the exact times that we had planned out. So I was just really proud of us and just how efficient we could be.
Christina loves to plan things and loves to be efficient. So if you guys were a part of our scavenger hunt we did, she was the one who did most of the planning.
How about you?
I think for me, it was definitely the Frozen moment. So we were at Hollywood Studios and we got this random Frozen Fast Pass, but we only had an hour to get there and we still had one more ride to do at Hollywood Studios. We were running late. I mean, you guys probably don't know me. I am not a runner. I am not a runner, but I was so proud of myself that I stepped up to the challenge and like ran when we were done with Toy Story. We ran from Toy Story to the parking lot, and then we were driving, and then while we were driving we went the wrong way and Christina had to do a U-turn, which was
the most epic U-turn. That should have been my answer.
Yes. It was amazing. And then we parked and we ran from the parking lot to Frozen, and we actually got to Frozen right when the Fast Pass was ending. It was super epic. We got in there. I was so red and hot and sweaty, but we did it. It was so amazing.
And our Twitter fans kept saying, are they gonna make it? But we couldn't respond to them because we were running.
I know, we weren't looking at our phone because we were running. So yeah, those are our epic experiences during our third escape together. The next episode, we're going to be talking about the escape that we're on currently.
Our fourth one?
Our fourth escape that we are living this moment. So if you would like to experience more Disney and experience more magic, check out Epic Disney Escape on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks for listening.
This week's lesson in theme park etiquette. Whilst enjoying your day in a Disney park, and it happens to be a holiday, please keep in mind that you are there leisurely and the cast members are stuck there working and not spending time with their families like you are. They are the reason your day can be magical. So with that being said, if you would ever be so kind as to pay some extra courtesy to the cast members you interact with, that would be swell. And I have one final announcement. I, Thomas Morrow, am retiring from doing the park etiquette segment for One Little Spark podcast. I have enjoyed my time with you all and hope I could leave just a bit of insight to better your visit to Walt Disney World. Farewell, friends. Thank you, and goodbye.
And now, the latest news.
Extra, extra!
Recently in the news, Disney has announced plans to expand the recently added alcohol at the Magic Kingdom from not only Be Our Guest, but to other locations around the park, such as added beer carts throughout the hub area offering draft beer from Budweiser, Bud Light, and Corona. Beer carts will also be added to Adventureland, and they will offer mixed drinks like rum and other drinks, also including the Dole Whip that has alcohol in it. It's very yummy, and they have it over at Trader Sam's as well. Frontierland will offer various versions of moonshine. Liberty Square will only offer Sam Adams, including the seasonal flavors. Fantasyland will offer alcoholic slushies, and Tomorrowland will have freeze-dried vodka. This
Awesome.
change is thought to offset the excess cost of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And you can expect this addition to come around the park by June 1st. So that's pretty cool. I mean, it's been a long tradition that there was no alcohol. Walt said he doesn't want alcohol around guests. But, you know, there's not too many incidences over at Epcot besides here and there with the drinking around the world.
Yeah.
I mean, you occasionally get a person who wants to climb a pyramid.
Occasionally.
Right. So now it'll be someone scaling the side of the castle or something.
Well, and you already have people who try to climb the tree over in Animal Kingdom. So how's this really any different? So it's all good.
I mean, I'm all for it.
Freeze-dried vodka in Tomorrowland? Sign me
Yes.
up.
I mean, I pretty much
Beam me up.
I already hide out in Adventureland because Magic Kingdom is so ungodly crowded that Adventureland's one of the only places I can, like, tolerate. So if I can, like, hang out there and drink a rum Dole Whip while watching some animatronic birds sing, I think that
If
sounds
only
awesome.
it was a rum citrus swirl.
Oh, yeah. I could do
Then
that.
we'd be in business.
I'm sure that might be possible. It's probably going to be one of the options.
They might have them in the little bottles.
I'm down for that.
You had me at plans to expand.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. Well, also at the Magic Kingdom, and this one kind of upset me, but with the recent changes to the Pirates of the Caribbean being a very popular one amongst certain fans, there have been other backlashes and outrages about other offensive things around the park. And what is Disney going to do about it, Joey?
They're going to take a survey. No, they're going to write us a review. Oh, wait. No, I don't know.
Oh, exactly. Well, we spoke about this on and off again, Disney, where they can't decide whether to stand their ground or listen to the fans. But over at the Haunted Mansion, this attraction will be going down from May 7th until May 9th to remove the hanging ghost host in the pre-show stretch room, since it's hurtful to guests attending the ride who are offended by that. So what they're going to do is simply skip this portion and pass guests through into the loading area. And to save on cost, the prop will remain, but will be unseen to guests below. Just how, like, the end of Spaceship Earth has the animatronics and the scenes behind the tarps, they're still going to just leave it there just because of the cost. So what do you think about them removing that aspect of the pre-show?
That makes complete sense to me. You know, when I go on Haunted Mansion with my daughter, that stretching room, she's fine with the pictures stretching. We kind of have a little laugh about that, but the minute the ghost host, turns out the light and you have the hanging body above you, she cowers down on the floor, and it as a father, it kind of breaks my heart to have her so terrified. So I'm kind of on board with them taking it out.
I mean, it was only a matter of time. Like, maybe it's just my memory of being a kid, but I feel like you used to see it. Like, it used to last longer and you'd see it more, and I feel like they've just made it like it's such a split second. You blink and you miss it. So at this point, it might as well just be removed.
It doesn't feel as good by comparison whenever we look at the stuff over at Disneyland, because you look at the stuff they do for The Nightmare Before Christmas and you have Jack looking down. That's way better. I mean, it's unused space, and it's sad that it's just going to be sitting there. I feel like they could do so much more with it.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe they have plans to do that. We just don't know what it is yet.
Yeah.
Something probably less hurtful, I guess, because that's the trend these days, I guess.
Buy more alcohol, we get more stuff.
There we go.
Exactly. It's a high revenue boost, and they already have the license for it, so there you go. Last bit of Magic Kingdom news, and this one is really exciting because I love Disney tours. I've been on the Keys of the Kingdom, the Marceline to Magic Kingdom tour, and you want to know what it is, guys?
What?
What is it, Rich?
Well, there's a new tour being offered by Disney called the Walls of Disneygram Tour. Now, this tour is $297 for adults and $283 for preteen girls 11 and older. This tour is a 5-hour tour that takes you all around the park to the hottest Instagram spots. A plaid-wearing guest relations cast member will escort the group from place to place, explaining the history of the walls and offering you a private photo session for you with a PhotoPass photographer. Various popular props will be available, like cupcakes and ears and Starbucks drinks, as well as a social media guru on hand to inform you how to get all of the likes on social media. Also included in the tour is a free purple pin, which I'll include on the website. They already had the website released on different news sources about this tour. So what do you guys think about that tour being added?
Oh, is that the thing you were showing me earlier? I was wondering what that was. That's awesome. I'm excited about it, actually.
Yeah, I think it'll be cool.
I mean, if it's your thing.
Well, it's cool. I think, they might have, like, why they created the color schemes. They have, like, the moss wall in Avatar. They have the bubblegum wall. What are some of the other ones, Joey?
Well, they got the toothpaste wall. Obviously, they have the purple wall. There's the casting door over on Main Street. You know, I've been interested in this for some time. As you know, Rich, I work in social media professionally throughout the week, and I'm always fascinated when things start to trend. And this is, if you're looking at anything Disney on Instagram, you're going to see lots and lots of young women posing in front of these particular places around the Magic Kingdom and Epcot and Animal Kingdom and Hollywood Studios. Not so much Hollywood Studios, but every once in a while they have a few over there. And it's really interesting. And I've tried to Google the history of these things and haven't been able to get anywhere with that. You know, they're just bloggers and vloggers just can't seem to crack that code. And the fact that Disney is going to make that available in a tour, that sounds great to me. And I think it's going to be very popular with preteen girls 11 ages and older.
Hey, Studios does have walls. They're called construction walls.
Right.
They are the coolest.
I have done construction wall and chill pictures. Thank you very much.
Construction wall and escape the 98-degree heat. The best kind of chill.
Nice.
I don't know. Maybe if I was a 20-year-old girl, I'd be interested more in this. But I'm just not photogenic. So I don't want to pay money to go have pictures taken of me. You point a camera at me and I go.
I mean, if this money goes towards getting stuff, I don't know, like a new monorail, then more power to it. If people want to throw their money to get pictures in front of walls at Disney instead of riding rides, and it gets me a new monorail with doors to close, I can live with it.
Yeah, well, and the other nice thing is if they're on the tour, they're not actually in line for any of the rides, so that's really good too.
Yeah.
That's true. It'll lessen the lines for all the wait times and everything. Now, I think it's basically the same as them capitalizing on everything being purple as well as the millennial pink with everything that just got released as well. Do you think that ties in?
It's possible. You know, and the rose gold stuff that's kind of, you know, going crazy right now. Who knows what they're going to add. Maybe they'll use the money from all this to create a rose gold wall and that all the girls can pose in front of.
They'll just blend in.
Between the jersey, the ears, the makeup, the shoes, the pants. Yeah, all you'll see is, like, eyes.
All you're going to see in this tour is a bunch of young women in these hot spirit jerseys trying to cool down so they can take pretty photos in front of walls.
So there was an event that we did about 2 months ago or so for the show, and about 250 people showed up. And one of the prizes that I gave away was a ticket that looks like an old e-ticket, and it was for a free shirt. So we go in there into the Emporium, and the girl who won the prize was like, "Can I have this?" And it's like, you've seen the price on those jerseys?
$60.
Yeah, $60. And I'm like, no. I'm like, no. The show isn't made of money. So anyway, she just got one of those shirts that said, like, take me to Fantasyland or something like that. But yeah, $60 just for that thing that it's hot all year and cold for like 3 minutes a year.
Yeah, I saw girls, a bachelorette party with matching ones, custom ones, sweating it out a few weeks ago at Epcot, and I was like,
God.
Good for you, I guess?
Their deodorant is not going to withstand that heat.
That sounds hot.
Literally.
Literally. So this next story is exciting but also bittersweet news, and that is that along with the cancellation of the possibly extended delay or cancellation of the theater on Main Street, it's being heavily rumored that the space-themed restaurant next to Mission Space has been canceled, as well as all of the backstage construction being halted. Now, we spoke about the Wonders of Life Pavilion being refurbished and that they're looking for an Imagineer to take over interior design, but that was just preliminary work for the interior demolition to take place, as there have been leaked blueprints and internal documents showing a complete rebuild and reconstruction scene for scene of the original Horizons attraction, which will take over the Wonders of Life Pavilion, as Bob Chapek has been interviewed stating Epcot's renewal will have all attractions and areas be timeless, family-friendly, and Disney-oriented, and construction has been slated to begin by fall of this year. So that's exciting.
Oh, that's so great.
Finally, the spin-off of the Carousel of Progress and a beloved attraction is making its return. That's going to be awesome.
I'm actually very excited about this because I never got to see Horizons. I've seen film that's very grainy and really difficult to understand what I'm looking at. And there's actually an animated video that you can go through. Somebody recreated it, scene for scene in it with 3D animation tools, and it looks neat, but it's not like actually getting to ride the real thing. And it closed before my first trip ever to Walt Disney World, so I'd be all on board with this. That sounds great. I just hope they don't, do the back and forth thing like they do with everything else, and hopefully they stay true to this and actually bring it back to the parks. I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with them canceling a restaurant because, Epcot has enough eating places, in my opinion. And I know there's some people, they're like, well, I want a restaurant that's not, in World Showcase. Then go to the Electric Umbrella. Like,
right. Go to Sunshine.
Yeah, go to Sunshine. Like,
Sunshine does not get enough love.
Yeah,
I go there every time.
It is really good. But why are we basing a restaurant on I don't want to say failed attraction, but let's say an attraction that hasn't lived up to expectations, when we could be bringing back, like what they're doing, something that people have been clamoring for. It makes sense. Think about the merchandising they can do.
Merchandising.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's going to be right next to the Guardians roller coaster. They need something right next to it to kind of balance it off. It's a little bit more family friendly.
You can have a bunch of orange scented things in there.
Oh, yeah.
They could do like a little hidden Orangeburg. That would be fun.
True. A little tie-in action. So I'm excited for that because fall is right around the corner and that's when the construction will start. So also at Epcot,
it's April and you're saying that fall is right around the corner.
It is.
It's just summer here. It's just nothing but summer.
It feels like July already.
Is it food and wine yet? Come on, people. Fall's just right around the corner.
Food and wine starts July 3rd, I think.
They already gave dates for like the parties at the end of the year.
Oh,
so
yeah. They started selling Halloween tickets like 2 weeks ago.
They're like, the event ended. Time to sell the next year's.
It's a nice 80 degrees at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's summer in Florida. The next season's fall.
Good point.
Anyway, also at Epcot, plans have changed for the rumored Brazilian Pavilion, which this is exciting, by the way, because I love any addition to the World Showcase. But they nixed the whole Brazilian Pavilion idea to now host the nation of Russia, as Epcot adds the Russia Pavilion with construction beginning by 2021, which is the 50th, I think. This new pavilion will be located next to the American Adventure Pavilion since it was deemed that they are the most friendly countries. Plans for a new boat ride showing the beautiful sovereign countryside of the motherland depicting crops of rye, sunflower seeds, and wheat, as well as cold weather clothing production and nuclear energy. Stage shows will also be offered numerous times throughout the day. It is also rumored that the recent acquisition of Fox also includes the next Disney princess Anastasia, who will be featured in the pavilion with a meet and greet. So that's actually pretty cool. I mean, everyone's going to be like, oh, Russia, that's so random. What happened to the Brazilian pavilion? But, they get a new stage show, a new ride, and a new princess, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I loved Anastasia as a kid. Like, that was one of those movies that everyone always just mistook for being a Disney movie anyway, so I think it'll just be wonderful to have her as one of the princesses you can meet and greet in the World Showcase.
The back half of World Showcase is going to be real busy, especially with Ratatouille being back there as well. That whole back stretch is they're going to need to try and find some way to direct traffic over there once they get this new addition.
It's going to be closer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always said that World Showcase could be its own park, in my opinion. I love it. So that's cool. A new ride is always welcome, especially to balance out the crowds there in Future World. What do you think, Joey?
Yeah, we have Anastasia in the car on disc, and my daughter loves watching it. So, just like watching any of the other princesses, when we go to the park, she wants to get pictures with them and dress up as them. So this is just going to be one more thing to add to that. And I'm sure she's not alone. I'm sure there's lots of other little girls who would love that as well. So I think it's great. I was just talking to my wife the other day about, we were watching some show and they were in Moscow. I think it was one of these spy shows like Taken or Madam Secretary or something. I don't know. And my wife was like, I'd like to go to Russia. That sounds like a cool place to go visit. And I'm like, yeah, I'd love that. But, without all the spy and espionage stuff, just for vacation. But if we can just go to Florida and go to the pavilion, I think that would be super cool, especially if we can land ourselves some freeze-dried vodka. If we don't. Yeah.
Well, I was actually going to say, wouldn't that be cool if they have a vodka bar, kind of like what they have in the sake bar in Japan?
Oh, man.
Or the tequila bar. Yeah.
And maybe a quick service, you get some good borscht.
I bet they're going to have some great food at the Russian pavilion.
Gross.
Yep.
Beats.
And Russian pavilion is actually not as silly to say as Brazilian pavilion.
I was going to say, Brazilian
Right.
pavilion has it.
Yeah.
It's quite silly just to say off the top of your head.
Well, no offense to Brazil. I think they're a great nation as well, and I would like to visit them. But, after the Olympics a couple years ago, I think that the Brazilian brand has really gone downhill. And, a lot of Brazilians come to Florida. You don't see a lot of Floridians really going to Brazil these days.
No.
And, just thinking about it, that cold gazpacho soup will go great in that Florida heat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Some borscht, some...
Borscht it's hot.
That was cold.
No.
That was a cold beet.
No, that's gazpacho.
No, gazpacho is cold tomato.
Tomato, excuse me.
Tomato.
Various cold soups.
Tomato, beets.
Whatever.
Either way.
Red vegetable.
As long as I get some yatka, I'll be good.
Well, that's exciting, though, because that's only a couple years away, so we'll be getting that. Another addition or change to Epcot is something that we've been talking about for about a year now, that Spaceship Earth will be receiving a slight overhaul, and this is finally coming to fruition. Starting July 1st, the ride will go down for 6 weeks to make changes to the attraction, such as removing the screens from the headrests and adding mobile devices that guests will hold entirely throughout the attraction. They will also lower the ride's volume and dim the scene's lighting, since after some guest surveys came back, Imagineers came to the conclusion that this will best depict current-day means of communication. This will help with maintenance costs, since guests will merely be riding the ride and viewing the attraction on the tethered handheld device. So I think that's pretty neat, utilizing new technology, still kind of staying with the Epcot feel, but also presenting the ride in a different way. What do you think, Joey?
That I struggled with what is the thing that's going to bring the Spaceship Earth attraction, to the now, right? Because we're in Future World, and sort of by the end, you're kind of locked into this early 2000s, late 1990s kind of, animated, interactive. It's kind of almost. Remember in Jurassic Park, they had the interactive screen, and they were like, "Ooh, cool! I'm in a Ford Explorer with the interactive screen," and that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah.
Coming down on Spaceship Earth at the end of the thing. And it's kind of silly. The kids like it, but these days, 2018, all kids want to do is take your phone away or get on an iPad. We were watching this interaction the other day where this lady was looking at a magazine, and it was on an airplane, and she turned to the flight attendant and she was like, this tablet is broken. And the flight attendant's like, that's a magazine? So, I think it's definitely time for them to incorporate something like this. I'm surprised that they're actually going to provide. Did I hear you right that you said they're going to provide the mobile device? Because everybody's got a cell phone these days. You would think they would be letting you log into their Wi-Fi and somehow, making you download the Spaceship Earth app so they can collect all this data. And that might be the next phase of this, once they get it all up and running, is to have people actually use their own mobile devices. And what I'd really love to see is a mobile device that allows me to, a mobile app, that allows me to see the people that are currently riding the attraction at the same time I'm riding it. And then as I'm looking at them, I can swipe right or swipe left, depending on whether... I think they're enjoying. Are they enjoying the ride? Do I like looking at their face while they're riding? I don't know.
Like a Disney Tinder.
Yeah, Disney Tinder. Exactly. I'm done.
If you swipe, I don't know which one's the I like you, because I've never Tindered.
We got married before that whole mess started.
But it says like you have to match, be like, you want to get a Dole Whip?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, if there's a match. Yeah.
But you know what this makes me think of, honestly? It makes me think of Perry the Platypus's World Showcase thing, where you used to get phones, and then now you can use yours. But I wonder if there'll be interactive elements, like if you answer a question about Da Vinci, see the one painting?
Yes, like Da Vinci and the Sistine Chapel.
Yeah, if you answer something at the right point, it'll create an effect where the ceiling shimmers or something.
I can see that really cool, because they did update it to include the little nod to Steve Jobs, and I think that if we further the presentation of communication and we make it in a way that would allow for everyone to get involved, I think it would be an option to let you use your own device. But we also have to think about the international guests who don't necessarily have a data plan while they're here.
Good point.
Yeah. So you asked the question, Joey, and what they had on this article was that the devices are going to be provided and they'll be tethered to the actual ride vehicle.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So, but that's cool, Holly. I mean, it's actually something that I was really interested in this ride as a kid and a teenager, and especially when you go on the field trip in middle school, if you live in Florida, you go to Epcot, and this is that's something that's really educational and in a nice aspect that they would add if they did something like that too.
I'm all about that edutainment.
I was gonna say, if they're gonna bring it up to an edutainment, you gotta, for better or for worse, you have to meet your audience where they're at. And for a lot of kids now, it's with a tablet or a phone or something is how they experience and learn. And I think that would be an interesting addition for sure. I will say I will try and ride it pretty soon after it opens, because I can already guarantee that 50% of them are going to get broken real quick.
Yeah. Or stolen somehow. They'll undo the cable.
That's a good point. I better book my flight now.
I mean, you said I can't take in the selfie stick, but what about these bolt cutters?
That's when you get added. No selfie sticks. No, we will confiscate your bolt cutters.
Well, this one is exciting because we have been talking about this for at least a year and a couple months, because we recently announced that the construction has began on portions of the new versions of Illuminations, which is heavily rumored to be called Illuminations Windows of the World. Now, what's interesting is that when Disney lost the Siemens contract with their sponsorship late last year, Disney was frantic to fund the new show, and it has been announced on Disney's corporate website that the following: we here at the Disney Company and Epcot staff are proud to announce a new sponsorship to host our new nighttime spectacular show coming soon to the park, and that sponsorship will be with the National Rifle Association. We feel that the NRA is America's preeminent gun rights organization, and they have a powerful and strong message to fight and win the toughest battles for the Second Amendment, and that message perfectly lines up to our vision for a new show that depicts unity and peace around the world. I am excited for Illuminations to come in, and I heard there's rumors about drones, and it's just going to be all fully updated technologically, and this show is really old, so it's nice to finally have the new one coming in very soon. What do you guys think?
Even though I am not necessarily a big fan of the NRA, if they are willing to put up the money to update the show and put forth the same message, I'm willing to see what they do. And honestly, I'll be more upset if they get rid of my the post-show music that they used to play during Tapestry of Nations, because that's really my favorite part of Illuminations. So,
how does Peter sing it again?
Yeah, so how do you sing it, Peter?
Way Away, hey, away, hey. I found the car. You will never not be able to hear it like that. Well, I mean, I like Illuminations just because it is the second most amount of actual pyro that's out there. Whenever it comes to a nighttime spectacular, the only other one that's beaten it is the Star Wars Nighttime Spectacular at Hollywood Studios, which they have this column of flame that comes up that you can literally feel the heat. That thing was incredible. So, I mean, if they're going to up the ante, I'm all for it.
Well, remember when I interviewed the cast member that works on Happily Ever After, he basically said there was a massive amount of increased fireworks that went into that show. So you can already tell that they're going to go nuts with this. I mean, also they'll have drones, but those only have a few minutes of life before they have to return back and land.
If they use the same drones that they did for the Disney Springs holiday show, we actually talked to a cast member about this. They have 30 minutes of life. The show takes about 10 minutes. It's 5 minutes to get into position, 5 minutes to get back, with about a 5-minute buffer timer. So the drones might only be in the show for about 10 minutes.
That's okay, though, because if they, take over the whole thing, it's just kind of too much. And then what happens on the days when it's kind of rainy, then that whole portion is not in the show or lesser or something like that. But the fireworks can still go on. So there's a lot that goes into it, I think.
Yeah, they were working with Intel on those drones, and I think that they've made... I mean, it's been 18 months since they had that holiday show at Disney Springs. I think they've done quite a bit to advance the technology on that. I think they can extend the life quite far, and I think they've even been working with firing pyrotechnics from the drone, but not up in the air, actually shooting them down toward the water, which is why...
At Guest.
Yeah, that's why they're so excited to bring this, I think, to Illuminations, because, well, hopefully not at Guest, but down on the water.
I am scared excited at the prospect of drones firing explosives at me.
Well,
like Cyberdyne.
This fits in perfect with the the NRA, of course, them being able to weaponize just about everything.
It's on message.
I would say it's on message. It makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. So and they've had a really hard time in the news recently as well. So I'm sure that this is a kind of a Hail Mary move. If they can get in front of Disney fans with a huge market reach that Disney has, they're going to be able to probably rebuild their brand here pretty quickly after this show is finally launched.
Well, that's exciting. So what also is exciting is over at Disney's Hollywood Studios, it's been almost 8 months since the Great Movie Ride closed. Go back and listen to episode 33. And construction is well along with an opening of the new attraction for next year of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And that attraction will now be the main focus as you enter the park, just as the Great Movie Ride was. So, with a new focus and a little bit of Disney paying homage to the former attraction, there finally comes a new name announcement for Hollywood Studios to be renamed Mickey's Great Movie Park, or MGM Park for short. Now, this new name will go live January 1st, 2019. I think that's pretty cool. It's pretty creative.
I mean, I just stopped calling it MGM, and now I gotta start calling it MGM again.
No, she didn't stop calling it MGM.
Yeah, I never stopped calling it MGM.
Well, now it makes sense.
Yeah, this just plays towards the classic, and it keeps it in mind that it is a park, and they want to be able to do it all about movies themselves, and not necessarily the old Hollywood ideal. So it's updating the message of what we know Hollywood Studios is now to being more in line to what Disney wants to do in the future.
Well, it also keeps true to Mickey's park, as in, he has the attraction right there. We have One Man's Dream right there. We have Fantasmic, which he's basically dreaming the whole show. So, we have a lot there that he's basically hosting the park to show you all of the movies, like Indiana Jones, Star Wars, Toy Story films, and all that. So I think it's actually a really good name, a lot better than the list we had last year. Yeah.
I like that they have Great Movie in there, kind of paying homage to the Great Movie Ride, if you will. They tie it in. It's way better than the options they gave us last year, and I think it ties it all together. Park. I know, right? They were awful, every one of them. It's like You would have thought that as a joke they would have put in all of those names and then maybe one really good one so we would all gravitate to it. But there wasn't even one good one to choose from. So maybe they were holding this one back, and they were maybe afraid we wouldn't latch onto this one, so they put out all those really awful ones just to set our expectations. But I gotta say, I think it worked because I really like it.
That was my theory. I was like, they're gonna give us a whole bunch of crap names, so then whenever they tell us the real one, oh, that one's not so bad compared to the rest of the garbage. So it kind of looks like my theory came to life whenever they finally came up with this name. Well, Holly, I know that you enjoy the Run Disney events. Peter, you as well, and it'll be my first one this November. So you know what's exciting about that?
What?
Well, with the removal of the Run Disney events over on the West Coast and ever-growing popularity here at Walt Disney World, there are strong rumors of adding a new Run Disney event each month with themes such as the rumored Panchitos Churro Fun Run Marathon, in which you'll be required to eat a churro at every mile marker along the way. Another rumored run is the Baymax Burrito 5K with unlimited burritos included in the price.
Sign me
with
up for that.
Extra and this includes extra restrooms along the route. And this decision was made to offset the cost of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge on both coasts and the loss of revenue from the lack of income since the demise of the Run Disney events on the West Coast. So I think it's a smart way to gain back some of the lost revenue, as well as the how we were talking about the new tour with the Instagram walls and all that. This is something that's also very popular and getting more popular. People are getting into it like me for the first time this year. This will finally give everyone a chance at these fun, different themed runs that they're going to be adding.
Well, and it makes sense because not everybody can come down in January or February or April or November. So if you're offering a run every month, then people will be more inclined to be like, you know what, maybe we'll normally go, let's say, the third week of July, but this Panchito Churro Fun Run sounds cool.
I will run for churros.
You will run for churros. So why don't we kind of move our vacation around it? I mean, and they can branch out. It doesn't have to just be the parks. I know that on Sundays they do a beignet dash at French Quarter, so I could see them easily doing themed resort runs. Can you imagine the Polynesian hula hustle? Like, that would be a lot of fun where you run between the Poly and the TTC.
We run as Ohana.
We do run as Ohana.
Yeah. One big happy family of runners.
Or the monorail challenge, where you get off the monorail at the TTC and try to outrun it to the Polynesian.
You mean like how that lady actually did that?
Yes, like how that lady actually did that.
That was crazy.
You'll probably beat it because it'll break down before getting there. So
that's the trouble. It's dodging scrap as it falls.
The stuff is falling as you're running down the path.
The obstacle course.
I
love it. Well, I think this burrito thing sounds amazing. I mean, I just hope they don't have that like in July, because you said they're going to have them every month. And I agree, because I know a lot of people who are school teachers who would love to do a Run Disney, but they just can't. They have to go in the summertime with their family. So, but yeah, you know what? I think I could sacrifice and eat a burrito in July in Florida. Sure.
I will eat a burrito in July in Florida for the team,
especially after I ran 3 miles.
Well, now that guacamole costs extra at Pecos Bills, I feel like anything where you get free guacamole at Disney is going to be worth whatever the ticket cost is.
Yeah, I'll have to double check on the pricing on these, but I think it's definitely worth it for burritos and churros.
Yeah, and if it keeps them from putting a second gate at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge by keeping the cost down, I think that's also going to be totally worth it.
Can we mix the drink around the world with the run and drink around the world? Just running and shots.
Yes.
Oh.
That feels dangerous.
Here in Texas, actually, and I know Texans are a little on the crazy side as far as the spectrum goes, they have a bike ride that's a 200-mile bike ride from Houston to Austin, and as soon as you get here, you get to drink as much free beer as you want. And it's very popular. Yeah. They have like 60,000 people competing in it.
When I did the 100-mile bike ride, the first thing I did after that went to go drink, because they had pizza there, and that was like the last thing I wanted, but there was beer right there. I'm like, yes, I do. So it makes sense. Adding alcohol to working out.
I don't see anything wrong with it.
I'd say nothing hurts afterwards, so
You're too numb to feel the pain in your legs. Or your
Say tomorrow we're going to be doing a run in a local brewery where we get beer afterwards.
They have those here too. It's pretty cool. Wow, that's a lot of news, guys. What do you think about all of it?
That is a lot of news.
a lot of changes.
It was, especially when normally when Disney releases like 3 stories and then the next week it's like 15 stories about new attractions and changes. So I'm glad we caught the big news week.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Especially when it's a special holiday episode.
Yeah, this is like you said at the beginning, this is one of the best holidays of the year. So I know I look forward to it every year.
Yeah, it's something in my family. I think Peter definitely married into it. It's kind of a big deal in my family. My dad really takes it seriously.
A little too serious sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you must, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. For those of you who don't know what a holiday we're talking about, you want to fill them in on that, Rich?
Yeah, Easter.
Oh, yeah. Happy Easter, everyone.
Technically, he is correct, which is the best kind of correct.
Yes.
It actually also happens to be April 1st, which is
April
Fool's
Fool's
Day.
Oh my goodness. So is this the part of the show where we tell people about everything we just talked about?
Sorry we made your blood pressure go up, but it's all a joke.
in the world of fake news. There you go.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We need to clear some things up. The NRA is taking over the Nighttime Spectacular at Hollywood Studios.
Oh no!
Not Epcot. Just clear that up.
The NRA is changing their name to the First Order.
Anyway, yeah, it is April Fool's Day, and thank you so much to Holly and Peter for being in on this. It was a really fun episode, and if you guys listen after the very end of the show, I'll be playing the bloopers because I could not keep in the laughter.
We tried real hard. We did not succeed.
No, it was hard, especially the whole premise was that these stories were going to be as if we read them over the last week and we had already taken them in, and now we're kind of reacting with each other to the stories. And some of them are kind of cool. Like, I kind of wish that some of the things would come true, like the alcohol to Magic Kingdom, even though it'd kind of be dangerous. Maybe if they did it a little bit more subtly, like to the sit-down restaurants, it'd be okay. And not just beer carts like at Busch Gardens.
Okay, every time you order a drink, you have to take a breathalyzer.
Oh, God.
They got pretty good.
Scan your magic band.
Yeah.
The walls of Disney Graham would definitely make them money if they made that a real thing.
Oh my goodness, the
If
preteen
they
girls
come out
will
with
love
that, if they come out with it like for real after they repaint this wall, I am going to be like, Disney, you owe me money.
Oh, man, so many people shrieking about that wall.
I actually am excited about the space theme restaurant, even though it could be hit or miss. I think we talked about that last week, Joey, but the rebuilding of Horizons will most likely never happen, even though that would be awesome. And the Russia Pavilion will never come to Epcot. I'm pretty sure of
that. Especially not right now.
But they are best friend. We are best friend with America.
Yeah. Spaceship Earth is supposed to get an overhaul, but it's supposed to be like small things. Definitely not.
They're taking the Siemens stuff off. That's pretty much it. I think.
Yeah.
I hope they do take those stupid push screens off though, because they are just like glued on. So I would love for them just to pop them off.
And their digitizers suck.
Yeah. Even if you like aren't wearing anything weird to throw it off, it definitely screws up a lot.
Yeah.
I've had it catch my face twice for both when I've ridden it by myself, and I had it catch my porg last time.
It seems to catch like my random shapes around my head.
I know your beards always looks like someone took a bite out of it.
The Illuminations Windows of the World is the actual rumored name of the new show, but the NRA thing is not real, and there are supposed to be drones. Everything else is just made up, but
they may or may not be weaponized.
Yeah. Hollywood Studios is supposed to eventually have a new name. They said they're not going to be renaming it anytime soon, but that was basically to shut up the people online. And it is not going to be called Mickey's Great Movie Park, even though
you don't know
it
that.
kind of sounds better than a lot of the options.
It's better than XL Kaleidoscope Cinemagic.
Cinemagic Max.
Cinemagine.
So, sounds like a roller coaster from Cedar Point, like XL Force. And the runDisney, I wouldn't be surprised if they do add additional runs, but definitely not Panchito's Churro Fun Run or the Baymax Burrito 5K, because yeah, that'd be a little.
The beignet one is real. If anyone's listening, the beignet one is real. So.
And I do want to do that. I just never got to. Isn't it like $20 too?
It's 15. I'm hoping to do it. I'm actually hoping to do it, no joke, on Sunday. So
awesome.
Today, I guess,
nice.
If this is coming out on Sunday. So today,
no joke.
Today we will have been driving down to Disney, so that way do the beignet dash.
Awesome.
Well, and other things, but beignet dash.
Well, we'll be looking forward to the pictures on Instagram.
It'll probably be me sweating and shoving beignets in my mouth, even though after running, the idea of a hot sugared pastry does not sound delightful.
Full of powdered sugar.
Oh, speaking of Instagram, that purple pin is real. Not the one I sent online, which will be on the website, but there are purple wall pins out there.
Oh man, they got like purple wall leggings that you can get from like LuLaRoe and stuff. I mean, it's t-shirts and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Is it mean-spirited of me to want to get tiny little reflectors and stick them on the purple wall?
So
just get some random glare.
Not mean at all, no.
Anyways, guys, thanks for joining Joey and I this week again. It's always fun having you on, and I think this show was a lot of fun to kind of slightly make fun of the Disney news that does come out, as well as make it realistic sounding, because a lot of them did sound realistic. So it was a lot of fun, and thanks again, Joey, for everything you do, and we'll see you guys next show.
Goodbye.
Bye.
I would say the only thing that's going to tip people off is the fact that we have Holly and Peter on here.
I'm really excited for the Wonders of Life pavilion, because I think it's long overdue for Disney to have a health-centric pavilion. Excuse me. They're turning it over. Excuse me. I misread the news from before. Never mind me.
Exactly.
Yes. So also at Epcot, plans have changed from the rumored Brazilian pavilion to now host the nation of Russia, as Epcot adds the Russia pavilion with construction beginning by 2021, which is the 50th. This new pavilion will be located next to the American Adventure Pavilion, since it was deemed that they're... I'm going to have to redo that.
Oh, I couldn't keep a straight face.
It's so dumb. All right.
Deep breath.
We are most friendly country,
Very
yes.
friendly.
Yes.
We are Joe America.
We have no host, Joe America.
We are parked next to American pavilion in the world. We parked next to them in the world. Okay.
Shit.
You almost had it. You almost had
I
it.
knew, and I thought, as I was reading it, I thought, oh yeah, Joey doesn't know what's coming up next.
All right.
Back to one. Back to one.
Back to one.
Oh, God.
Stop laughing.
All right.
I'm going to mute my
I'm
microphone for
dying.
just a minute.
I'm scared excited at the prospect of drones firing explosives at me.
Well,
like Cyberdyne.
This fits in perfect with the the NRA, of course. Them being able to weaponize just about everything. So
it's on message.
I would say it's on message. It makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. So and they've had a really hard time in the news recently as well. So I'm sure that this is a kind of a Hail Mary move. If they can get in front of Disney fans with a huge market reach that Disney has, they're going to be able to probably rebuild their brand here pretty quickly after this show is finally launched.
Okay, I couldn't hold it together anymore. Okay, I'm better now.
Oh God, I'm gonna have to edit. I'm definitely leaving these in as bloopers at the end.
I'm turning as red as a Russian tomato.
I'm crying over it. This is funny as hell. All right.
That was really hard to play that deadpan.
All right, Rich. So what's going on over at Hollywood Studios? We've been talking a lot about Epcot.
I like how Joey's just like naturally. You're like, I like how they weaponize the drones.
It's on message. I get it. Makes sense.
Oh God. All right. Woosa.
This year's lesson in April Fools is I'm not going anywhere. Thank you and good day.
Way, away, hey, away, hey. I found the car. You will never not be able to hear it like that.